Okay, so in this video, I've got something insane and deadly, something downright sinister, and an update on our new shop. But I'll save that for last because I don't want the people who clicked on this video for the EV content to have to sit through the vlog. So we'll get to that. All right, the insane and the deadly. Last week we did a video on that Hyundai Ioniq that needed a battery replacement. It was a new car, guy hit something in the road, it dented the battery cover, and nobody wanted to touch this thing. And Hyundai wanted to charge $61,000 for a new battery. So the insurance company comes and they total the car, write it off, boop, just like that. And by the way, we learned about this incident from a channel called Motor Mouth, and I neglected to mention them in that last video. My oversight, guys, I'm sorry about that. But Motor Mouth did an update yesterday, I believe it was, yesterday or the day before. And evidently this Canadian Hyundai battery fiasco is a thing, because after they posted their first video, somebody else in Canada gave them the exact same story with receipts. They were driving down the road with their Hyundai Ioniq, and a muffler or a part of exhaust system or something fell off the car in front of them. They ran over it, it dented up the battery cover, same situation, and it was the same deal. They brought it to the dealer says, nope, no good, we got to change this. $61,000. All right, this is complete insanity. And you say to yourself, well, you know, I don't care about Hyundais. I would never own a Hyundai. Why do I care that these people are, you know, good for them, right? You're missing a couple of points. The first is that we all pay for it. When you have new cars, brand new cars, that are totaled out because of a simple, common road obstacle, road obstruction, road issue, okay? They ran over something on the road, they dented the bottom of the car. When you get brand new cars that are totaled for that situation, we all pay. The insurance company doesn't just hand you a check and say, come on, let's go roast some marshmallows now. No, the insurance company doesn't, they don't play games, they don't party, okay? They make money, they're there to make money. So if they've taken losses on these cars because of these minor hits, they're going to pass it on, not just to other people, not just to other motorists. If one division is losing money, well, they'll just hike rates. Your homeowners goes up because everything goes up because of this. It just makes the world that much more expensive, that much more nonsensical. Now, let's recap. One of the reasons why the battery costs $61,000 on these cars is because Hyundai doesn't stock these batteries. They sell cars in North America, but they don't stock crucial replacement parts to keep them running. The battery, in all of its size and weight, has to be imported from Korea. Okay? Crazy. So that's why this battery costs as much as it does. They don't stock it. Now, what I also found out is that the problem with the Hyundai batteries extends to their hybrids, because they don't stock the batteries for the hybrids either. You have a problem with the hybrid, same situation. It's not as expensive as a full EV battery, but it's still much more expensive than the typical, and it has to be imported. So you have a problem with your hybrid battery, and the car is laid up forever. Now, why can't they fix these batteries? Well, because the technology, you know, repair them. Because the technology, the common technology to repair these things isn't in the hands of mechanics yet. And there's a fear factor. See, nobody wants to touch this thing. The dealership doesn't want to touch it. They don't want the liability, because dent in the battery, you know, a problem with the battery, oof. So that's why you just replace it, okay? The body shops don't want to touch it because of liability. Nobody wants to touch these things because of the liability involved. Now read between the lines, okay? If the professionals who are supposed to deal with these cars don't want to deal with them because they could explode at any time once the battery's been compromised, how many of these cars and similar cars are out there right now going through life, electric cars, going through life and hitting stuff in the road or running over curbs or doing whatever people do with cars that have dented batteries, and now this thing is a time bomb, right? There was no indication with either of the Hyundais that got totaled. There was no indication by warning lights or anything like that there was a problem with the battery. How many EVs are out there right now, all over the road, all over the world, with dented undercarriages, dented battery covers, or dented batteries, I should say, that are a liability that could explode at any minute? The dealers don't want to touch them, the body shops don't want to touch them, but yet people stick their families in these things and send them off into traffic. If that's not insanity, I don't know what is. And you know, the funny thing about Hyundai is that I remember when they first started importing them to this country, and they were, you know, they were a little silly. They were very plain. They were very humble cars. But I remember they were extremely reliable, and they were easy to work on, and people were getting crazy mileage out of them, and I actually started to become fond of them. And it's like, you know, you look at the Hyundai from that era, and you look at what they're producing today, and it's like completely opposite. I could keep going on this, but I won't. I got to move on to the next one. So this is from a video on a channel called M Guy Australia. Now, if you think I'm anti-EV, you ain't seen nothing yet. This guy's like over the top. M Guy, M, like letter M, Guy, G-U-Y, Australia. This guy's over the top. All of his videos are anti-EV, and he does a lot of really good ones. So he posted a video this day before yesterday, I believe it was, that I think everybody should watch. Everybody should see this video if you're concerned with this whole thing, pro and anti-EV. Both sides need to watch this video because it concerns an incident. Now I'm going to paraphrase all of this. I'm going to put the link to his video in the description of this one, so you can go watch it yourself. I'm just going to paraphrase. So this is an incident that happened last week in New Zealand, Cook's Beach or Cook's Point, whatever it was. So there was a fire, house burned down, and the initial reports of the house burning down was that there was an EV in the garage being charged, and it caught fire and it burned down the whole house. All right, you know, you expect this stuff, right? EVs. All right. So that was the initial reports, and this is what the news reported right away. Later on, like that same day or within 24 hours, they changed the story. The news changed the story and said that the fire had been investigated, and they quoted an official, a New Zealand official, a fire investigator, as saying that the fire didn't start in the garage, it didn't start in the EV, it actually started in another section of the property towards the back of the property, meaning like the exact opposite place where the EV was. And that's what. Now this is a New Zealand fire official, and his name is in the video. All of his details are in that video. So M Guy contacts the news organization, one of the news bureaus there, and questions them on the details of this incident. And they say, yeah, the investigation found no connection to the EV. The fire started someplace else. There's a problem with this, and the problem is there was one of the neighbors out taking video with their phone when this fire first broke out, and you could see the fire before it spreads to the rest of the structure. You can actually see through the structure, you can see through the windows. It's clear, there's no smoke, there's no nothing. But halfway in the garage, halfway in and halfway out of the garage, is a flaming car and a burning garage. All right, now this is on video. This is one of the neighbors that shot this on their phone. The neighbor's video contradicts not only the news reports, but the official, the New Zealand fire investigator, his report. Right? The fire started in the car. The fire investigator lied about it. The news media lied about it. Does this come as a surprise to me? No, not even a little bit, because I understand how this stuff works. Of course, I'm always called a conspiracy theorist and oh, you're nuts. But no, this is exactly how it works. And if you have any doubts, go watch this video. Watch it all the way through. If you still don't understand just how sinister this whole thing is, keep watching it over and over again until it sinks in. He covered all of the major points. He made it very clear, and it's like there's no debating that there is just lying. That is my biggest problem with the EV thing. It's the deceptions. It's all of the deceptions, and it's from the government, it's from the media, it's from the corporations. They all work together, and they all follow the marching orders of these NGOs. You know, you think that the people who you vote for are the ones who make the decisions, or the ones who are in Congress, or whatever. You think they're the ones that make the decisions. It ain't like that, guys. It's the NGOs, non-government organizations, led by like Klaus and company. Those are the people who set the policies. Those are the people who run the media, that run the corporations. Those are the guys who run the world. Don't take my word for it. Look into it for yourself. Enough of that stuff. Let's take a look at the shop, because Well, I'm a little bit in limbo right now. We're running, I guess, about 2 or 3 weeks behind, but they finally got the back of this thing framed out. So let's go take a look at it. They were working on it yesterday. So here's the addition. That looks good. Nice doorway. And what's that? A bathroom? See, I told you there'd be a bathroom, and there it is, forming right before our eyes. All the comforts of home. So have all the comforts of home. So I said that's the side entrance, the bathroom. The main entrance into the shop is going to be here. The doorway into the shop is going to be here. Okay, so keep that in mind for everybody going on the other side. Nice window. This area right here is going to be the office slash studio space. So, and we're going to go, so I have something I want to try. We're going to try it this year, and I need good sound. I need a good sound area to do it with. So we're going to go out of our way to make sure that this space right here is capable of broadcast quality sound. You know, everything we shoot indoors, you know, it all sounds like we're talking at the bottom of an oil drum with all the echoes and whatnot. So we'll have this place here wired for sound, or I should say prepared for sound. I have some interesting stuff, and we'll talk about it in another video. So that's what we got here, and hopefully within the next couple of days they'll have this all closed off. Now I'm still in a bit of limbo with the front because they've got the doors and window and everything that they're going to use back there stored in here. So I picked up paint, I picked up some shelf brackets, but I really can't do any work in here until they're finished. But I can give you the plan. Because the last time we were in here, I said I wasn't really sure how I was going to set everything up, and we need to maximize it all. So, and this is a little bit more unique than setting up a typical shop, because there you're only concerned with getting the work in and out. And here, this is a YouTube shop, so I'm mostly concerned with being able to get around stuff and have good lighting and all of that. So the way things are positioned and the way we have to set this up is a little bit different you would with a typical shop. So, as I picked up paint and shelf brackets, and we're going to keep this pallet rack. I'll get to that in a second. So here's how this is going to go. Slag hammer is going to get parked there, and bottle rocket's going to get parked here. Slag hammer to the back because it's a little bit wider, and the nose of bottle rocket is relatively narrow, and it'll fit this space right here. Give us enough room to get around the passenger side of the car, and it won't really intrude into the doorway very much. And there'll be enough space front to back, with the cars parked front to back, that they could each be maneuvered out of the way without disturbing the other one. So that's important. This corner of the shop is going to be set up for our longer term projects. So anything that's going to be laid up in here for weeks or months will be in this spot right here. That's what this is going to be dedicated for. And then the front part of the shop will be for in and out. Floor space is crucial here because you've only got so much to work with, and again, we have to be able to get around everything. So we can't have any shelving that sits on the floor. So what we're going to do is we're going to run a shelf 6 foot high around the entire perimeter of the shop. So that'll eliminate the need for stand-up shelving and get all of the small things and whatnot up off the ground. Now we're going to keep this pallet rack over here. The bottom will be, the heavy stuff. Engines, transmissions, cranks that have to be stood up and whatnot, all underneath there. This level we'll use for, tires and wheels and the cylinder heads, things that aren't that bulky. And then up top, we have a lot of tents and tables and chairs and stuff like that. So that'll all get stored up on that top level there. And I think that pretty much, I think that'll make this as workable as it needs to be for our purposes. And then of course outside, we're probably gonna put up a lean-to out there too, because like I said, I do like to work outside. And it's good to film outside, so we're gonna be setting up outside as well. But that's it, that's the update on everything that's going on here now, and the EV insanity, it just keeps getting crazier and crazier. And sinister. There's a lot of sinister involved in all of this. And that's my gripe with it all. My problem isn't with electricity powering cars. I'm not afraid of being the internal combustion engine being like replaced and all that. I'm not worried about that. I don't like the lying. I don't like the lying. And it's institutionalized corporate lying. It's sinister in a lot of ways. Wake up. I'll see you tomorrow.